So hello everybody, welcome back to today's video based on a little bit of history and walk around different parts of Stourbridge, churches, some different things with glassworks, and obviously right by the side of it now is really interesting because looking there is actually Stambermill viaduct, which is at the heart of Stourbridge by the town centre. Now this actually dates back quite a bit, and it does say, if I just get the history back up for you just to show you, the Stambermill viaduct is a viaduct situated in Stourbridge, West Midlands, England. It was constructed in 1850 to carry the Oxford, Worcester and Wolverhampton rail across the River Stour, which the River Stour is just situated right by the side of me, just flowing all the way down from where I come from, down the bottom down to there. Now it does say it carried passengers until 1964. It is still used for the goods trains as the railway continues on the Roundoak Steel terminal at Brawley Hill. Trains have not travelled beyond that point since 1993. Freight trains can still be seen passing over the viaduct, which you can actually get trains that sometimes do pass along there. I have seen them from time to time, because you can imagine where that actually linked up to. I do know that goes to where the Brawley Hill section is, to where the Roundoak used to be on that corner. So there is quite a lot of interesting information behind this. So it says here, the reopening of the South Staffordshire line between Dudley and Walsall is expected to be ready by 2023. With West Midlands Metro trams sharing the line with freight trains, a business plan for the reopening of the line was submitted to the Network Rail in March 2011. So they are thinking about redoing this line up for public use once more. So run a passenger service between Stourbridge Junction and Brawley Hill, with stations being reopened along the route, including Brawley Hill. The service will be operated by rail cars built by Parry People Movers, who built the Class 139 units, which run the Stourbridge Town service. Quite interesting. The viaduct was subject to 6 weeks of maintenance improvements works in September 2013. There is quite a lot of old photos behind this, which I will show in a bit. But absolutely interesting just to see the Stambermill viaduct, which is just situated right by the side of me over there. Look at the view of that. Wow. With the Stambermill, there is quite a bit of history of the viaduct, which is just situated just right by the side of me where I'm walking to, and I'll go a bit more closer to it. But it does say the coming of the railway. It says the first Stourbridge station was built in 1852 to serve the Oxford, the Worcestershire to Wolverhampton line. When the branch line to the town opened in 1879, In 1860, the Stourbridge Railway Company obtained an Act of Parliament to build a line in Lye, Crater Heath and Old Deal, from where the branch lines were built to Dudley and to the Midland Railway near Longbridge. When the line opened, the station became known as Stourbridge Junction. A few years later, the line was extended to Smethwick and Birmingham, Snow Hill in 1901, the junction station, which had only 2 platforms and a small one for the town service, was handling many extra trains including London and Cardiff Express. As a result of this increased traffic, a new station was built at its present site. The old station in Junction Road, formerly known as Halfpenny Hall Lane, was demolished in 1905. So you can just see there some history about when the dates go back from the Stourbridge station in 1852. It is quite really interesting, and there is many old photos onto it. If I just have a quick pan through. So if I just pan this round, whether you'll be able to see this, just give me a bare second just to show you. You're going to see some old photos here. Now this photograph at the top there is actually possibly dates to the 1890s of the town station, showing the original footbridge into Vauxhall Road. So you say, look at that, look how old that is, 1800s. And there is a photo there, look, of some people just by the train. Really interesting. So there is another one here, considering Stourbridge town station was served by a pull coach and engine service from the junction station and only had 1 platform. There seemed to be no shortage of staff in the early 20th century, which you can see on the photograph there, some of the staff members. But it says something there about Stourbridge to Smethwick and 1 to Birmingham Snow Hill. So it's mentioned about the stations there, a goods depot in the lower High Street. Quite interesting. Have a look at the next one. Now you can see, you may have seen these photos in the cinematics. This is actually Stambermill, where he's standing right now. Now you can see the River Stour back there, flooded, which you can see there. Now that is actually where we're standing, I believe, just over onto this bit, which is quite interesting. You see there 2 constructing views of the 10-arch viaduct across the Stour Valley. The scene looking towards Stambermill in the early 1900s is vastly different from today, with the Penfield estate covering the farmland below, a dramatic picture of the infamous River Stour floods. It was not until extensive dredging and channel improvements were carried out that the danger of flooding became more remote, which is there. So that is actually overlooking what it is today, just right in the distance below the bridge onto the other side. Quite interesting actually. I mean, there is so much more photos on this train line, which you can see there, and there's the one there. So yeah, we'll cover a bit more a bit later on, but now let's go and make our way to Amblecote Trinity, which is right the way over in the distance over there in Stourbridge town centre, and it will show you a bit of what it looks like on the inside. It is really old, because you imagine when Amblecote, before it come around, they built a church when the civilization there was getting much more bigger, and there is a window in there which was actually in memory of James Foster, I believe, if I'm right, something to do with the ironworks, which is right the way of the back. So let's go and take a look, and it is quite interesting actually. Although Stourbridge, unlike Amblecote, Pedmore and Wymford, did not warrant a mention in the Domesday Book, and for what it can be assumed, either it didn't exist or was considered worthless. Less than 200 years later, it was mentioned in the 1255 Worcester Assize Roll, when its spelling varied between Stourbridge or Stourbridge. But what eventually became suburbs of Stourbridge, Amblecote, Pedmore and Wymford are specifically mentioned in the Domesday Book. Being on the edge of productive Worcestershire and South Staffordshire countryside, where there was substantial sheep farming industry, Old Wymford expanded to create what eventually became Stourbridge. By the 16th century, Stourbridge had become an important market town, a position it was to hold until quite recent times, serving a wide rural area to the west and south. In the 17th century, The mineral wealth discovered on the fringe of Stourbridge saw the town to move towards industrialisation. The swiftly flowing river Stour was already powering a number of mills, engaged in the wool industry and the early stages of ironworking. But with the addition of the glass industry, fireclay and coal mining on its borders, Stourbridge became the business centre for Amblecote, Wordsley and Lye. So I thought I might mention this because it is quite interesting actually. Now it does say there, the Stourbridge Lion, which is like a plaque up to there, look. And it's got a date up there, 1828. Well, we'll come back into this later when we go to Foster Rastrick and Company was. They said the Stourbridge Lion was a railroad steam locomotive manufactured in Stourbridge, England by Foster Rastrick and Company in 1828. It was the first locomotive to be operated in the United States and one of the first locomotives to operate outside of Britain. The Stourbridge Lion weighed at 7.5 tonnes. The locomotive first official run took place on the 8th of August 1829. I believe 1829 as well, when they built the Anganoria, I believe. I will look back a bit later, in Honsdale, Pennsylvania. A replica of the Stourbridge Lion remains on display in Honsdale to this day. Quite interesting just to see her, but I thought I might mention there's a bit of interesting history just along the way to the church. So here we go, second church of the day. So this is actually another one. So what did you think of that other one we went to?
It's really nice. The architecture on the ceiling was the best, and the windows.
I know. So this is actually one by the Corbett Hospital. This is actually another church. So this is Amblecote Holy Trinity, which is just lying here. So I thought we might come and check this out, and it does get tied into a bit of history as well, and goes along the ceiling with the videos when I went around the churches. Obviously since St Canal's Church and the church St Thomas's what I went to. So this is just a nice little one just to come and take a look around, and I thought, you know, places like this, there is so much history just lying behind the church, and it's just lovely to come and check out what they have to offer to see. But this one, it's sort of like a different style one, which you can just see. Because the architecture up here in the ceiling got some like beams which are different. But the stained glass windows in this church is wow. They are just so lovely just to see them. How them carved up there, look into the glass. Those ones, the stained glass windows there. But those ones are absolutely beautiful, which is on the far back of the church. And you'll find the far back of the church there's always beautiful stained glass windows, similar to the St Thomas's, but in a bigger, like in smaller version of them, into like sections. Look, but seeing that as well. Look at the cross, which is hanging right away from the top. Look, but it's sort of like a more of a wider scale. This church is altogether. You can see there. Look at this. Panning round one more time. But that is beautiful just to see that. And we have got one of those things again, just on the side, which is just down, look, on the corner. It's got amblecote on that one. I will get you a better view of it. I'll just get up to here. As you can see, look at this. That one actually says amblecote on that one, look. So yeah, just looking at a bit of history, because I have found a bit on the internet about this church. So this is obviously the Holy Trinity of Amblecote. So Amblecote appears in the Domesday Book as Amblecote or Elmlecote, the exact meaning of which is unclear, but possibly refer to the wooded or rural nature of the area. It lay on the southwestern fringe of the Black Country and formed part of the manor of Enfield or Enfield. Property of the Earls of Stamford and Warrington. Amblecote was only a town or hamlet. Like I was mentioned as well, like how it would have been like a small village and nothing much around, so you could just see what Amblecote actually was. Because back in the day, Stourbridge would have been really old. You just imagine what Stourbridge would have possibly looked like, the town centre. It has dates onto there, so it was a small population. In 1662, it had approximately 300 inhabitants. In 1812, this had grown just to over 1,000, and by 1862, the figure had risen just to over 2,000, and by the end of the 19th century, a number had passed 3,000. You see how it goes up and up and up as the dates get further. Round the area starts to expand, and you get more of the housing estates into the 19th century. So, and there is more here. So with the increasing population and the growing importance of the area, it was considered that the Amblecote should have a church of its own. And in 1838, the Lord of the Manor was approached with a request that he should assist the project. On the February the 20th in 1839, at a meeting in the Talbot Hotel, Stourbridge, a letter from the Earl of Stamford and Warrington, dated 20th of December 1838, offered 2 acres of land and £300 towards the erection of a church in the hamlet of Amblecote, together with an annual endowment of £100. So it's really amazing to see, you know, the dates it was dating back to. And it's got something here. So in 1856, the east window was installed in memory of James Foster. The cost met by his former employees at the John Bradley and Co Ironworks, which is over on the Stourbridge Canal, which I will show you when I put my Stourbridge Canal video up of that industry, which is far at the back. Mr. Foster was the largest contributor to the subscription list for the building of the church, so it has things to do with the old industry which is over there, the old iron makers. Really fascinating just to read the history, and I thought I might mention all this to you. But just looking around one more time, this is actually just the view of the church itself, looking down. I mean, it's just beautiful just to see the stained glass windows all together. But I could just imagine, like I mentioned, whether the church would have looked more back in the day. It's really old, and it's had the paint. I mean, does it to you look like it's had a revamp with paint as well? Like white paint,
like
hasn't it?
Metal, because that originally was probably wood.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking the same.
supports.
So it stopped it from, like, you know, give it a coating to stop it from not probably rotting, or, you know, it is really interesting. So it's a church to come and take a look at if you've never seen this one. Come and have a walk down. It's just a lovely walk. You can do the church walk, which I'm doing from church to church. So I believe the next one we're going to, if it's open, is Wordsley, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it is really stunning architecture in there, and you've got the back walls, so definitely worth a look. We'll go and make our way up there. Oh wow, just look in there, look at the candle. Look at that. I mean, it's got some like little things hanging on the side of it. The way it's burnt now is like dripped down, look. So yeah, this is Canal Street in Stourbridge, which is quite a nice little area where you walk down. You see how old the cobbles and when you come down as well. You've got the 17th century storage unit just down there where they stored taxable items such as tea, tobacco, spirits in bond as well. It is really old inside. I've been in that one, which you've seen that on my channel before. You've got little loading bays just down the sides down there, and the old units just there, the Stourbridge Navigation Trust. Those are old as well, I do know. But as I walk down here, I will show you some little things just on the way. There is like an old building down here, like an office building. So yeah, just behind me right now, you can see the back end of the bonded warehouse just there. Now there actually used to be some little buildings here as well. Now connected just to here, There used to be an old rolling mill building which is just right on the corner there. I will post a photo on now for you what it's actually like. So there used to be that over there. There used to be some more rolling mills right over the back over the distance, but there was definitely one here because you can see it's all been fenced off. And if I just carefully show you, there is some like little things just onto the corner. You have got some support beams which are still here now, which you can see. I did show you this on my last video, but that there is an old support beam for the building which you can see. But it's quite a lot of old stuff that used to be over here, and Hollowware and Co, which is right over the back over there as well, that is still derelict, I believe. They are planning to build some houses just on the sides at the back. Let's go and show you this little office building which is on the corner. So yeah, just walking down towards the canal side now, there is some more little buildings on the side here. Now I do know there was a big factory that was situated on the side here, just looking down. You can see it's all flat land, look. And there isn't much on here now because they demolished it and flattened it all. But the abandoned building which is still there now, I believe it used to be like an old office unit to the place. But whatever was on here though, I can't remember what it was, but I do know you had Foster Rastricks at the back. And like that one there which I mentioned, you had like a little building there. If many of you know what this was onto here, then feel free to drop it in the comments. I am interested once more to learn what this place was. But I do know that's old there, this like little office building. So let's go and take a look and see what's inside this, because you can just go around to it. So yeah, this is the back of that little building which is here. You can see how old this is. I mean, some of the support stuff into there and rotten, because you can just see the ceiling, look. Still got some screws hanging. But just imagine what this was used for back in the time when it was a little office building. So having a quick look into it. So be a bit careful because it is old, and I know it is falling to pieces slightly. But this room here is pretty interesting because we've got like a little arch on the back as well. We can just see there, there's like a little arched wall. Look how old the support beams are into here and how rusted they are. It's crazy, but I do know that part of it's actually burnt and sat on fire as well, which is why this building is still like what it is. And you see some of the parts are burnt and charcoaled. But let's have a quick look in here. Now it's quite a bit lethal into it because I have seen needles, which you gotta be careful. So I'm gonna climb brick to brick. Nice past that. But looking into it, look at this bit into here. Now that is decayed really bad. You can see the ceiling just give way. And some of the wooded bits up there are falling off as well. With all the rain what we're having, it's causing it to decay. Carefully walking down, we'll show you there is like a little fireplace up to there. I don't know if I'll be able to capture it for you. Just in the corners you can see there's like a cream colour fireplace there on the top. There was one there as well which you can see. Possible little office units where you come in. This would have possibly been the reception area. I'm guessing it could have been a reception to the big factories what by the sidings here. Possibly could have been. But look at the old pipe work sticking out as well. Look at that. But you just imagine how old some of these buildings date back to 1800s, 1700s. And most of the factories that was down here do date back quite a bit to when it was actually running. But look at that as well, we've even got doorways there. Look at that one doorway there. So this would have probably gone further at the back and connected into the factory itself. But we've even still got like paint on the walls, look. Look at that. How you've got that like blue paint. And the windows at the front of it are actually green and painted green. So the door's green. You had some green bits there, look, as well. But yeah, quite interesting to see this. So I thought I might as well just pop in and quickly show you what it's like. It's just like a little ruin, but it is really interesting for many people to see some old history which is still here. Let's go and take a look at Foster Rastricks, which is down the bottom, and what they've done to it. And I know it used to be derelict before, and they've actually redeveloped it into like a newish building. There is something connected to the side of it, but I'll show you the outside of it and I'll tell you a bit of history as well along the way. So yeah, this is actually the grounds of Foster Rastrick and Company, which you can see today that it is actually still here. The big building what they used back in the past. It was abandoned at one point and it was falling to pieces really bad. But you can just see what they've done to it as well, and the way they've done it up. Now there is some like little office buildings just on the side here which you can just see, and the way they've developed it is astonishing though, because you see they've kept the old structure and redeveloped it, making the brickwork more steady. because you see it's still got the same windows as what it would have had into it, how there would have been, and the big round like little bit into there with the glass up to the top, that was actually how it all used to look. It is grade listed building as well. That is why they've kept it and redone it up into what they've used it for now. I'm not too sure whether you can go into there and take a look what's into it. I don't know if it's just like little office buildings, work buildings. I might go over there in the future and go and have a quick look. But it is really interesting just to look at this because it ties into history of, you know, how the iron works were here, what they did here, and I know where the Stourbridge line, where it was made, the Anganoria. There's quite a lot of old history behind it. So yeah, I have got a bit of information on Foster, Rastrick and Company. So it says here, Foster, Rastrick and Company was one of the pioneering steam locomotive manufacturing companies in England. It was based in Stourbridge, Worcestershire, now West Midlands. James Foster, an ironmaster, and John Urpeth Rastrick, an engineer, became partners in 1816, forming the company in 1819. Rastrick was one of the judges at the Rainhill trials in 1829. The company was dissolved on the 20th of June 1831. But it says here, looking down, products, it says the company produced a variety of engineering products, including steam engines, proving machines for chain cable, saws, mills and boilers. It also produced structural components for the buildings, bridges and gasworks. It had the facilities to produce cast industry components, including beams, cylinders and flywheels, as well as some of the old household items. In 1825, it listed railway components in a catalogue of products including railway sleepers and railway chairs. Quite interesting, I never actually knew that. Well, I do know they made like the Stourbridge line, Anganoria and that kinds of stuff. But to make railway sleepers and, you know, railway chairs, it is quite interesting. Locomotives, it says there, at the end of the 1820s, Foster, Rastrick and Company produced steam locomotives intended for two railways, one in the USA and one just a few miles from the works of Stourbridge. The local opportunity had arisen after an agreement between James Foster and Francis Downing, the mineral agent of John William Ward, the 4th Viscount of Dudley and Ward. The parties agreed to build a 3-mile railway linking coal mines in the Shut End area with a purpose-built canal basin at Ashwood on the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal. In America, at about the same time, the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company were developing a rail and canal link between coal mines at the Carbondale and the Hudson River. The Foster, Rastrick and Company built only 4 steam locomotives, each one having vertical cylinders and each side of the furnace, the grasshopper beams and connecting rods, from then to crank pins in the 4 coupled wheels. 3 were sent to America and 1 to Kingsford Railway in the Black Country. Quite interesting actually seeing that. And there is like much things there. It says on the Foster, Rastrick and Company engines, the Stourbridge line built in 1828 was the first locomotive to run on the rails in America. It was shipped from Liverpool in April 1829. 2 others named Delaware and Hudson were supplied later after that. The Stourbridge line was tested on blocks on May 28, 1829. In July of that year, it was sent to Honsdale by boat. Now you would have seen that I mentioned something about that later in my video where I did the Stambermill viaduct, and I walked up the road and I'll show you a bit of information. So that's actually where it mentioned that as well, bits of their Honsdale. So it took place on 8th of August 1829 when it ran on 3 miles of track. It quickly became apparent that the track was not stable enough to bear the weight of the locomotive, and after a second on September the 8th, 1829, it was decided that not to use the locomotives. The railroad was subsequently operated by gravity, stationary engines and horsepower. So there is quite a lot of information behind this company. So it's dissolution of a pioneering the company's locomotives. Designs were not almost immediately outdated upon the arrival in 1829 of Robert Stephenson's rocket. The locomotive, which virtually set the pattern for the rest of the steam age, ceasing locomotive work. The company was officially dissolved on the 20th of June 1831, its assets being absorbed into the Stourbridge Ironworks of John Bradley and Co. iron manufacturer and owner of several coal mines, where James Foster was already the major partner, and after 1832 the sole, it's basically the sole owner. Quite interesting today. It says the factory building today, which is just right over the back, the original factory building in Lowndes, I think it's that Lowndes Road, where Stourbridge Lion and Anganoria were built, is still standing. Although near to the collapse from a fire in 2004, its renovation began in 2012 to house with a new adjoined building, which is actually on the side, which I just showed you. A Stourbridge medical practice. Oh well, that's all. I wondered if it was actually a medical practice, that one, which will be known as the Lion Medical Practice. Lion Medical Practice opened during April 2014. So I'll just pan around one more. You can just see the practice, which is right in the corner, just over to there. Quite interesting to see what I've done to it there. It is really interesting. So yeah, this is the Glasshouse College, which we're going to be taking a look at. It is owned by Ruskin Mill. Now, we have been here before to come and take a look to see what it was, and there is some interesting little things up in here. Some old little history. Do you remember when we come and take a look at this? The other, going back a week ago, we wondered what it was. Because we ended up into the college far at the back, so we'll just go and take a look at the history. And I will show you some interesting things to do with the glassworks as well, just into here. So yeah, this is the glassworks bit with the Ruskin Mill. You can see there's like little bits and buildings into it. We've got some like little workshops as well. You can see this is actually where they make some of the glass, some of the paperweights, which you can see there is some paperweights just into the side over there as well. Really pretty interesting the way how they make this glass as well, and how the designs to it. You can just see some really good designs as well just onto here. Look at this. Got loads of interesting designs of glass just onto there. Look, the way they've made them at this place as well, and the other glassworks around Stourbridge. You can see some little ones there, look. But those are interesting, some salt rocks there, look. You can see into here. There's like little different pieces of things. I've got some little crystals into there, look. Wow. But looking into here as well, we've got some different things into here, look. Big glass like paperweights into there, look at those ones. So yeah, this is the room that I wanted to show you, because we've got quite a lot of history onto here to do with the glassworks itself. And you can see we've got a Ruskin Mill, which is the big massive building just right there, look. And see where the old things are here to do with the old glassworks and stuff. I think just looking down the bottom, I find it's actually this one, which you can see there, the old Colborne Hill glassworks in the 1900s, Dudley Road, Stourbridge in 1910, which you can just see, look. It says there in 1930 Thomas Webb and Corbett Limited moved into the site. In 1969 Royal Dalton took over the Rev Corbett, which ceased production in 1999. On the 31st of May 2000, Ruskin Mill Trust acquired the site, vacant apart from a team of glass cutters and their foremen who were still cutting glass. Quite interesting, you see there is some like little things there as well, history. Thomas Bradley Jr., the new cone structure, the picture above, which is that one. We have got some more here, area view of Colborne Hill Glassworks, early 20th century, look. I was looking down, there is some more like little interesting things. Look on the wall over here. It's like different pictures of like different buildings that seem to have been derelict. They're demolishing the courtyard, look at that. In different rooms. I'm looking at that one and seeing what that one is. Sterling Works, pre-purchase in 2004. 1908, CW Fletcher and Sons moved their business into Sterling Works and started to produce finished silver cutlery by 1922. So this is their Britannia metalware, canteen, stainers, cutlery and pocket knives. It's making you wonder if it's actually got different things like what's into the cupboards, look. So you can see all the different like little knives, tools. In there it's pretty interesting now, we've got like little hammers, dishes. And down there, look at the cutlery down there as well, how old that is. I mean, there is some like little things onto here as well, look at all these. Which one? This one? Oh well, see another. There's quite a lot of abandoned buildings. There's one there, look, constructing the roof garden. Looks like it's in Birmingham where the BT tower is near situated, look at that. I do know there's quite a lot of abandoned stuff in Birmingham. The second floor of standard works before renovation. Look at that. Oh well, so it says there, cutting out a shape for a piece of jewellery based in an old jewellery factory in Birmingham's jewellery quarter. Jewellery was destined to be a signature craft of Argent College. There's quite a lot of interesting information. You see some different things there as well, look. So yeah, it is quite interesting. If you've never been to Ruskin Mill College, definitely come down and take a look, because you've got all the history which is on the sideboards, which you can actually read about the different glasswork stuff, Thomas and Webb, which is really interesting, all kinds of different things, stuff on the side, all the different things what some of these industries actually made as well. Onto there we've even got glass and different kinds of things onto here, look at those. Oh wow, what is that? Looking what that is. It's like some sort of like blueprint for something, look. Onto there's actually another one. Oh, copyright Royal Dalton. Look at that. There's some different things up to there, look. Got lime, silica, wow. Yeah, we've got even more things here. We've got some like little vases which they've made here, look. Quite a lot of them. And those there as well, look at that. Actually, some of these are for sale, look, £65. Oh, look how much that one is. 1,500. A Vic Bam for steriliser and sunflowers, look at that one. 495 for that one, look at that. Oh wow. It's quite interesting to see the way they made all these though, wow. Look at that, and you've even got like the little rooms into there, look.
I couldn't hang something like that, you'd break. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a piece on there, 10,000 quid.
Oh.
So we go.
Is that? Is this green one? Yeah.
I'll in the middle shower with the dancers, the ballet dancers. The string shelves there from left to right. And it's the shower.
Yeah, there is some other like little glass things into here as well. We've got like these like little ones onto here, look at these. All the different patterns and like the way they're designed, look at that. And there is some like other little ones down here, look at this one. Got like a design there, look. Webb Corbett founded 1897. Another like little interesting design there, look. And some other ones, look at these. So yeah, that was Ruskin Mill Glassworks. Really interesting just to see some of the stuff what's into there. Different parts, like all the history which is on the side, all the pictures, all tells you how far it dates back. So let's journey away down the canal now. Let's head to the other glasswork museum, which is right the way at the bottom. So just right beyond the rock now, is actually another very old glassmaking industry. You can just see, I don't know if I have to pick it out, but there is a big massive canal side cone that is right the way at the back of there. And there is a bit of history about glassworks itself within the Stourbridge area. So it does say for centuries glass has been manufactured in the Stourbridge area, reputedly started in the 17th century by French makers from the Lorraine region. They were attracted by the area by the rich natural resources of coal and fire clay for lining furnaces, making it the perfect location for the industry. Stourbridge glass is recognised as amongst one of the finest in the world and has been used in countless times as gifts for royalty and visiting dignitaries to the UK. So there is quite a bit of information about that one as well, I believe, online somewhere. Just imagine what went on here with the glasswork, because there is quite a load of them. Like the one that we've just come from, the Ruskin glass place, used to be an old factory onto there as well. And just looking by the side as well, we have got, just looking by the area, if walking down. Now, the reason why the glassworks were situated by the canal line is to load the goods onto the barge, because you can see there is some like loading docks just in the side tunnels. There is one there, you can actually get a better view of one going right the way through. Now that's why they had the barges come through to load all the glass onto it and bring all the goods into the factory. But it is quite interesting though, seeing the old remains of one of the glassworks which is still here today. So yeah, just come up to the corner from the main road that goes all the way to Wordsley. We've got the Glassworks Museum, which is on the right, so we'll go and take a look in there and we'll go and have a look what it's all about. So right now, into the museum now, you can just see the cone that is just right by the side of us, the big glass cone. And we've actually stopped off to the chip shop, which is actually opposite the by the museum. Absolutely lovely. Just to sit here and eat like a nice chippy by the canal side. And you see this, how old this canal is as well. That's going all the way down. And obviously that goes all the way to Delphlocks down that way as well. It is pretty really interesting walk. I might actually cover that one in the future as well. Just going up to there. So yeah, let's go and take a look at the big canal side cone, which is just right in the middle of the museum. Absolutely lovely just to see the way it is, the old architecture of the old glassworks when it was actually here. So it does say here we've got original iron window. Above is a cast iron framed window. This is the only remaining original window in the cone, which you can just see. There is like some odd bits of other information just into the side here. It does tell you about the canal as well. So the canal was dug out or hand cut by men called navigators or navvies. In the 18th century, the canal system was the most efficient way of transporting goods. Many glasshouse owners built their glasshouses to the canals. For 150 years, narrowboats brought in coal and sand and then transported the finished products, which you can just see there, Stuart Crystal, High Street, Wordsley. And another one there, which is the photo of that. Let's have a look inside here. Wow, so this is the cone inside, which you can see. Look at the windows on the side, look how old those are. I mean, it is very tall up. Look how tall that goes right the way to the ceiling, look at that. And you won't realise it's that tall. I mean, on the outside it doesn't look big until you come inside. And you look up there, wow, look at that. Look how far it goes right the way up. And how old the brickwork is, well, because that is dating right the way back a bit. So the cone is a very old structure, and it says there it is a Grade 2 listed building, but apparently it is blocked, so you can't go in here now because it has suffered brick and mortar damage, which you are apparently going to restore this building, so you will be able to once more come around it. But it is interesting just to see it though all together. Look at that. It says there we've even got some more photos there. Photograph from Thomas Webb, glasswork, showing a workman and his young assistant of the chair. Look at that one. There's even some there, group of glassmakers including young boys. Look at that. Glasswork is inside the Red House glass cone in 1902. And there's one there as well, look at that one, interior of Aston Flint Glassworks, Birmingham, which is a big cone that is actually similar to this one, look. And there's another one there, it says, for centuries glass makers have worked around the furnace in teams known as chairs. The chair would normally consist of 4 men, the workman, the servitor and the footmaker and taker in. The workman was the most senior and skilled member of the team, seated in the glassmaker's chair. He would carry out the final hand shape of glass. The servitor was his chief assistant, and if wine glasses were being made, he would be responsible for shaping them, the stem and foot. So you can just see there, glass maker at Webb Corbett. Another one there creating an air twist glass, look, and shaping a jug handle. Wow. Well, it's one more pan around though, so you just see this one more time. Look at that. Absolutely amazing just to see that. I mean, to see the Grade 2 listed building still here, just absolutely amazing. But yeah, interesting just to see that, and especially having the canal by the side as well. Wow. I mean, the canal is very old. You just imagine the way this actually dates back, and actually when this was used as an actual glassworks. But looking down there though, I know it goes all the way further on. I believe that goes, like I mentioned before, it goes all the way to, if you keep on going, it will bring you out by the Delph Locks if you turn right all the way to Brother Hill. And that way it goes all the way back to Stourbridge Canal, just down the bottom. But yeah, I'll have to have a walk down here one day. I will do a full video on it for you. So yeah, just looking into this bit here, we've even got some more little things. We've got tools, tool bag, different kinds of tools here as well. Look at this. So it says, there, so look at that measuring stick. Depending upon the item, this was marked with chalk. The item was compared to these marks to ensure it was the correct size. So you can just see that one there, look at that. It's into there. And all these different ones, you can just see down there, footboard was used for forming a feet of wine glasses. So you can see that one there, look. Absolutely interesting just to see some of this really old stuff. A tool bag, a military bag, so it may have been government surplus, or the owner had been in the army. Glass blowers were known to use any kind of tool bag they could find. Look at that, look how old that bag is. So big ones down there, you've got a pallet. A pallet was used to flatten glass, which you can see the big flat one just down the bottom, look. There is, just looking here though, we've got some different glasses just into the cabinet here. Look at all these, like little jug glasses, wine glasses. Look at all these ones. Those ones I'm interested in. Look at all those. So you can just see into here, we've even got more little things. This is actually the other view of the big cone just on the other side, look. Look at that, another big view of it. So it says here, raw materials and the glass recipe. It says there, the batch consists of silica, pure sand, lead oxide powder, red lead, potassium oxide, potash. The addition of the potash and broken glass known as cullet was also added to the mix of lower and melting temperature of the glass. By adding lead to the batch, the cooled glass would be softer enough so that it would be cut. Lead was a particularly hazardous substance, and exposure could result in life-changing illnesses. So you just imagine what they went through when, you know, building all this stuff with the glass. I mean, there was some like dangers with it as well. But there is some photos now, but it's a bit dark to show you. But just looking around, there's even more like machines and different tools. Look onto the sides. So what's that? Pot changing equipment, levers and bars. It says there, the process of removing a damaged pot from the furnace and replacing it with a new pot requires a mixture of brute force and technical skill. The skill comes from the glass makers who perform the operation. The brute force is reflected in these long and heavy bars and levers, which are used to release the pot from the siege floor of the furnace. Look at that, barrows and even trolleys. So if you could just read all that information there, it is quite really interesting, look. And we've got one there as well, so quality assurance, no detail overlooked. It tells you there, so there are many different ways glass is formed. Some items are made while the glass is still hot, and this is called hot working. It involves molten glass with a temperature around 1250 C, This hot viscous glass can be used in glass blowing, sculpting and casting into moulds. So wow, there's quite a lot of interesting information there as well. We got another photo there of web core, but a cold working method, which you can just see. Look at that. Oh well, have a look into this one. We've got, it says here, look at all these that I'm into there. Them apparently them old and rare, these glasses are, all those into there, look at those. We've got this as well. This is the Lear at the old at the red house glass cone. Is now the only remaining example in the world, which is all that in the middle over there, which I'll quickly show you. So the annealing oven, or Lear, has a long low arch chamber heated at the end, which opened into the glass house and was furnished with shallow iron trays. Newly made items were first placed onto these trays in the hottest part of the oven. As the trays were filled, they were pushed slowly towards the cooler end of the Lear. After many hours of cooling, the items could be removed. Hopefully I've said that right. The young taker in transferring some glassware to the Lear for annealing in 1902. Look at that. Some really old photographs. And there as well, look at these. Wow. What's that?
Gold chain.
Oh yeah, look under there. I didn't realise that. This is underneath of the Lear, look. You see the old like things here, the metal rails going all the way across. So that would have brought it, like I mentioned, all the way into the big cone just at the back over there. Quite interesting just to see it. But onto it though, we've even got cabinets with all different kinds of glass, look. 1900 to 1910. Look at these. Absolutely so much, and the designs of some of these are really beautiful with the colours that have been moulded into them. Look at all these orange colours. Wow. So it says here as well, to start at the back, we've got the Stour quality control was taxing at the Red House glass cone. During the first half of the 19th century, glass was taxed by weight, and so excise officer was stationed in the Stour and would supervise the weighing of glass as it came out the Lear, which is that big thing that's just right here. So you can just see the bottom of it where we're standing right now as well. Look at this, a better view of that. Absolutely really interesting just to see that. I'm going to quickly have a look down there, just where the steps are. You can see like a bit of a better view down, but it's really dark. I'll be able to get a bit of light just to show you. I don't know if I'll be able to, but look into there, if we get a bit of a view, look. It's like a little tunnel system or arch going right the way to the bottom, look. And some big mechanisms down there. Wow. So this is actually the next place that I wanted to show you. Now I know you probably can't get into this today, but I don't know when you actually get into this church. I've been trying for many weeks to come up and have a quick look around. It's unlike the other ones though, but I know this one dates back so far. And look at the architecture of it just from the outside. I mean, it does remind me of St Canals when you've got that little architecture of the side bits up there, a little sculptures right there at the top, and the castellated bit at the top as well. Absolutely amazing just to see that. But the clock's actually frozen on time. It's always made me wonder, is this church actually used? Now I've tried phoning the number and it just sort of hangs up on the number, which is strange. But if I will try the door to see if it does open, but I highly doubt it. Nah, it's locked. I mean, you've tried looking it up, haven't you? And
Four times I've been here, shut.
yeah, it is quite a shame because the history inside, and apparently the architecture in there is wow. It's amazing at the back of the church. But the graveyard though, I know the graveyard dates back quite a bit as well onto here. So have a walk around and we'll go and see what's around the other corner. But looking at the gravestones though, I mean, some of them are like completely overgrown. So yeah, I have found a bit of information on the church which is really interesting. So situated between Amblecote and Kings Winford, Wordsley was at the centre of the glass industry. Holy Trinity was built as a new parish church in 1831, at which time nearby St Mary's Kings Winford became a chapel of ease. St Mary reverted to the parish status in 1846. The architect was Louis Vulliamy. The spacious church lies in a typical large black country churchyard. Within the parish are separate worship centres of St Clare and St Mary and St Francis, who meet in local schools. The civil parish of Wordsley, originally in Staffordshire, became part of the Metropolitan Borough of Dudley in 1974. Stunning architecture on the back walls, and it is a Grade 2 listed building, this church, which you can just tell how old it is by the brick as well. And just looking around, I'm in the churchyard, some of it is completely like overgrown, and so it's like a load of like nature that's taken over some of them, and I bet you some of them actually date back to the late 1800s or beyond that.